evening. I'm Peggy Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. And seated at our table tonight, singer Alexandra Scott. Hello, Alexandra.
Hey, Peggy.
She'll be performing for us a little later this evening. And Ian McNulty, food writer for the New Orleans Advocate. Glad to see you again, sir.
Thanks for the invitation. Glad to be here.
And also making his Steppin Out debut, Sandy Hindlerlie, pianist, professor of music, and director of the Music Technology Center at Loyola University, and many other things. And he's going to perform for us a little later, too. Welcome, sir.
Good to be here.
Hello. Thanks. And Steppin Out theater critic Alan Smason, who is also the editor of the Crescent City Jewish News.
And I will not perform tonight. Thank you very much.
And Poppy will return next week, but we're delighted to have, of course, Ian.
Well, Peg, this is a great time in New Orleans. It's Lent. I don't have to remind anybody in this area that that means seafood is on, right? It's everywhere. Seafood specials coming at you left and right. Crawfish is pouring in. But sometimes I think we do need a reminder of just how diverse and rich the seafood traditions are in New Orleans. So for the last few weeks, I've been doing a series in the New Orleans Advocate every Wednesday where we take another look at just some facet, some angle of the local seafood culture. We call it 7 Weeks of Seafood, and it continues through Lent, of course. So I've been alternating it. I've been using the column to look at some real traditional examples of New Orleans seafood, and then maybe some more modern or different takes or some angles from some of the different ethnic restaurants that we have in New Orleans. But the uniting principle here, of course, is that great local Gulf seafood. And we're going to start with, for our little review here, of one just came out this week about seafood boats.
Oh,
you remember these. These
course.
are not po' boys, not seafood platters, but this edible oddity of New Orleans. It just flies in the face of all things gluten-free or low-carb, with a whole loaf of bread,
yeah,
a stick
throw
of
out
butter.
that out the window.
This is the example at Deanie's on Haine. Of course, that's out in New Orleans, East and Little Woods. Very traditional one out there, been there forever. And a fantastic example of the model, only open for lunch. You can get them at a lot of different places, it turns out. I've been finding them at a few different neighborhood joints. And this one was over in Madisonville, Morton Seafood, right on the Tchefuncte River there, a great spot. From these just mammoth seafood boats, we turn the attention to something much lighter, raw seafood. Not the sushi bar style, but these types that are turning up at more bistros and cafes. Sometimes they go under the names of crudos or seafood carpaccios. One of my favorites is Maritza. This is the Italian restaurant in the Bywater, right by Noka. They do fantastic versions there. You just saw crudo next to a tuna carpaccio. For a whole different take, Mezzato Cucina, the restaurant right there by the cemeteries, right on the Orleans-Jefferson line. It's a pan-Latin restaurant, and they do the tiraditos, which are just really dressed up, beautifully composed seafood plates. Fried shrimp, really popular all over New Orleans. It turns out it's pretty popular in Vietnamese and Chinese restaurants in a certain way, sometimes called salt and pepper shrimp, sometimes called salt bake shrimp. Here's the example from Nine Roses. It's twice fried in the fryer, then fried in the wok, toasted flavor, lots of garlic and pepper. Really, really delicious. You can get them out of the shell, as we just saw at Nine Roses. Here is an example from Little Chinatown, great, really authentic Chinese restaurant in Kenner, where they have the shell on. You actually eat the shell and everything.
Oh, wow.
But the way that they fry it, it's delicious. It's as crisp as a chip. Now, something a little more traditional in our series, we went to looking for stuffed flounder, whole stuffed flounder, another lakefront tradition. A little harder to find these, but there's a great one at Middendorf's restaurant out in Manchac. Just really traditionally done, that seafood stuffing bursting out of the top. Bones and all, of course, that's part of this. Fury's restaurant in Metairie is another one, really harkens back to the past. They have an interesting way of cutting the flounder there. It's the whole flounder. They cut one side of it and splay it open. Kind of has like a 3-panel effect there. Almost looks like a fleur-de-lis, if you ask me. Yeah. And then just to kind of wrap this up and show you that you can have traditional dishes with a little more modern touch. We're going to the Pelican Club. Their version of the stuffed flounder, really distinctive. It's a whole stuffed flounder, just like you get at the old seafood restaurants. Instead of being stuffed, it's piled with scallops and shrimp and cilantro and sort of a Thai-style spicy sweet sauce in there.
Sounds great.
Yeah, lots of great eating. And if we've whet your appetite for seafood, I wanted to point out that next week, Slow Fish is going to be in town, international conference, and along with it, they're having their own little seafood festival. at the Old U.S. Mint on Friday and Saturday. Free admission. You're going to have chefs from around New Orleans and around the country, and actually around the world, cooking up different seafood dishes using some of the local catch and even some specialty products they're bringing in with them from around the country.
Thank you so much, Ian. Sounds great. And speaking of food, Billy Gruber's family restaurant roots go all the way back to Meal a Minute. But he had his own legacy as a gent with a great personality and talent in the kitchen. We lost him recently, and here's an appreciation of his life by producer David M. Jones.
I was on smoke patrol one night. That's it.
On February 4th, New Orleans and I lost a good friend, Billy Gruber. He was the center of a celebration that included a jazz funeral and a party at Rock and Roll, where some of his many friends reminisced.
Anybody who lived in New Orleans knew Billy Gruber.
Billy and I grew up together. He was a dear friend.
I've known Billy since I was 13, and we've been friends ever since.
I met Billy in high school. He was a quarterback at St. Paul's.
We ran in the same circles, but he ran a lot faster than most of us.
That was like the New Orleans version of the Rat Pack.
Billy Gruber and I were the only two guys in our whole group of friends that went to Vietnam.
The first time I met Billy, I was going into the warehouse.
I met him in '88, the day I walked into the Palm Court.
I met Billy at Palm Court many years ago, and he told me that he was opening WYES and he needed help.
He was a great chef, self-taught, I might say.
He said that he started cooking when he was about 10 or 11, that he loved it.
He spent 24 hours a day creating new environments for people to go, enjoy New Orleans, enjoy the music.
He and my husband and Frank Bua opened Mandy's. He went on to Palm Court Jazz Cafe. And then he did WYES, and he just never stopped. He was like a little ever-ready bunny. Everywhere you went, Billy Gruber was there.
He always had a plan, ain't no question about that.
I had the pleasure of sampling his different recipes for barbecue shrimp until he finally got it right, and he did.
I always liked the breathtaking roast beef.
Everything over there was great. The gumbo was exceptional.
Best gumbo in town.
He kept the shrimp out until he served it.
You know, he was like a soup Nazi with his soups.
It took him years to perfect that recipe.
Besides the food being good, the restaurant was so successful because of Billy.
He does everything in the kitchen himself. He does have help from a good friend, Roadrunner.
I'm carrying out the tradition of his gumbo at La Yusus by the track. We got the secret recipe.
His legacy will carry on.
To me, it's his biggest accomplishment. It's the way he touched people. And look at all these people that are coming out to support him. Everybody loved him.
He loved New Orleans. He loved everything about New Orleans. He loved people.
You didn't get to know a lot about him, but you had a lot of fun doing it.
Just an adorable man.
Just a real genuine guy. You don't get more genuine than Billy.
When he looked at you, he looked into your soul.
And he's always had a smile on his face.
He was the happiest guy.
He was a social butterfly.
I'll love him and I'll miss him forever.
He was a good man who'll be sorely missed.
As soon as you met him, he made you feel like he was your special friend.
He was like a best friend, like I've known all my life. I've known him for 15, 20 years.
I feel very fortunate to have had him in my life.
He always invited people in to enjoy music, life, food, fun, and help people on their way to where they want to go.
What a sweet guy.
Yeah, that was a great tribute. It really shows you. I mean, we have such a food culture in the city. It goes beyond the ingredients. It goes beyond the traditions. It's the personalities. Billy Gruber, such a great example of that. That's why this food culture really resonates with people. It's the personalities like that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And turning to Alexandra. Alexandra, I know you're originally from Virginia, but you've been here quite a while. You're a New Orleanian, true and true.
I am. It's almost 16 years.
That's wonderful. Tell us, describe your music for us.
It's, well, it began in the mountains of Virginia, and I fell in love with rock and roll at some point, and it all mashed together. So sometimes I call it country folk, and sometimes I call it dreamabilly, which is a term I made up to describe hillbilly and rock and roll mashed together with, you know, a little bit of Brit pop. And really the best way to find out is to hear it, I suppose.
Absolutely. Now, I know you have your current CD, I Love You So Much As Always.
I Love You So Much Always.
And you're going to be working on another one soon? You just got a grant, huh?
I did. The Threadhead Foundation gave me a grant, which was lovely of them. Thank you so much,
Now,
guys.
I know you travel around the country, too. You opened for Leanne Rimes. That's got to be a real thrill, huh?
I did. That was very exciting. And I did a tour last summer all over upstate New York and northern climes.
But on a regular basis, we can see you at LOA?
Yeah, at LOA every Wednesday
Bufas?
night, and at Bufas every Thursday night, singing jazz. LOA has been a little home for me and my band to stretch out and explore some of my songs and get the band to have a home base, and that's been really fun.
And if we want to know more about you, you've got a website?
I do have a website, alexandrascott.com.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, you said, let's hear it, and we're going to listen to Alexandra, and she's accompanied by Rebecca Crenshaw on violin, and the song is Here I Go.
One, two, three, four. Rosemary Rose, fingers and toes, kicking that candy, man, let the sand fly. Treat it like a hazmat when you see something that you can't put a name to. I got excuses like the Pope got hats, slept all night on your welcome mat. I'm tired of doing the same old things, they don't feel like they used to do. Give my regards to your old front door. Give my regards to your mama. Give my regards to that winding road. I'll be honking, tonking, stomping, waltzing, leaving. Here I go. Second verse, just like the first. Missed me, now you gotta kiss me. You come running every time you hear bad news. I love trouble, but I'm working on it. No more being poor now, paradigm shift. I'm throwing out everything I didn't choose. Give my regards to your old front door. Give my regards to your mama. Give my regards to that winding road. I'll be honking, tonking, stomping, walking, leaving. Here I go. That mountain, I miss her. That melody, I listen down that same road again. Those voices, they call me. Come back, little darling. Don't you wander off someplace where you've never been. Give my regards to your old front door. Give my regards to your mama. Give my regards to that winding road. I'll be honking, tonking, stomping, waltzing, walking, dreaming, scheming, whistling, kissing, sighing, smiling, flying, leaving. Here I go.
Once again, Wednesday nights at LOA. That's in the International House Hotel, and that song will be on her new upcoming CD. And now, though, it's time for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight, we are spotlighting paintings by Jackson Square artist Kenneth Wayne Cook. This is a view along the river followed by Summer Heat. It looks like a photograph. It's so gorgeous. Cook's work has been featured in McCall's, General Housekeeping, Good Housekeeping rather, GQ, and other publications. And this is Courtyard on St. Anne. He can usually be found on St. Anne or the St. Peter Street side of Jackson Square Fridays, Sundays, and Mondays. You can also check out his website, kennethwaynecook.squarespace.com, to see more of his work. And we're also featuring Mulberry. That's by Jim Richard. Born in Port Arthur, Texas, Richard has exhibited internationally during his more than 40-year career. He was also professor of art at UNO for many years. And the name of the new exhibit is Darn That Dream, and it opens tomorrow at Arthur Roger Gallery on Julia Street. Please visit arthurrogergallery.com for more information. And now, Sandy Hindlerlie, how long have you been at Loyola?
Since 1981.
Woo! Now you're professor of music, but also you have a regular gig at the Pelican Club.
Yes, I do. Speaking of stuffed flounder.
Stuffed flounder, live jazz.
And lots of good stuff, but more pertinent for us, you have a special concert this weekend.
It's actually on March the 12th.
Okay, coming up, rather.
It's coming up, and I was able to hook up with a vibist in Europe a couple years ago, and he's been there 40 years. He's an American that's lived in Germany, and so we hooked up a couple years ago. He saw me on YouTube doing a concert with Martin Mazakowski about 5 years ago, and said, if you're ever in Germany, look me up. And I was only 30 kilometers downriver on the Rhine River in Dusseldorf. And so we
he's coming
did hook up, and he's coming.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, people don't even realize they've heard Sandy's music in many places.
That's true.
On TV, on the news stations, and Channel 4 for a long time.
Channel 4, 6, and 8.
Channel 12 documentaries. And so, I mean, you do a lot of different things, don't you?
Right, exactly.
Which is fun.
No, I've been doing digital music for film and television since the 80s.
And how many CDs?
I have about 3 CDs, but I've recorded a bunch. I have my own record label, STR Digital Records.
Oh, right. And you also have a new studio.
Oh, well, I finally fixed an old studio. It's been 10 years since Katrina, but in my house. And so Tom Vandergeld and myself are going to record in our house this week.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations, and I know you're going to play for us. We appreciate that, and we're going to let him move over to the other side of the studio, and we'll hear Blues for Dino. will be performing at Loyola College of Music, the Montage Series concert with vibraphonist and composer Tom Vandergeld. That's Saturday a week, next Saturday evening at 7:30, March the 12th at Roussel Hall. Free, such a deal, and open to the public. And please visit the website on screen that you just saw to learn more about that. And now we want to let you know about New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street. She has a question for us. Last time, Rami Steen named the 3 Fats Domino songs that refer to walking in their titles. I'm Walking, I Want to Walk You Home, and Walking to New Orleans. Okay. Now tonight's question. 2 downtown hotels. One has a British name. The other has a statue of a British political hero in front. Name the hotels and the statue. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes: a year subscription to Louisiana Life magazine. And tonight, we have an apron is worn by WYES production assistant Burke Bischoff with the message, High Society, a nod to the final episode, sniff sniff, of Downton Abbey, which WYES is broadcasting this weekend, Sunday night. Thanks to our friends, as always, from wearablevegetables.com. And you can visit WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events, including next week's installation of the Bishop Perry's Center musical prelude to Easter concert series featuring Dr. Quinn Pieper and Albinus Prisgintis. And you can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to view our program. And you can check it out on our homepage. And now, Mr. Allen.
Well, after establishing a 2-week run that set all kinds of box office records at the Sanger 2 years ago, they're preparing for the return of, yes, the Book of Mormon this next Tuesday night. And for those of you who haven't fallen off the...
Tuesday or Wednesday?
It's going to open on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then we media people will go on Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
So, but for those of you who haven't fallen off the face of the planet, those of you who don't know about it at least, Robert Lopez of Frozen and, of course, Avenue Q, and Trey Parker and Matt Stone of course, South Park fame. They all had a lot to do with this irreverent musical, which really is not just a send-up of the Mormon religion. It really is a send-up of religion and faith and practice. We'll have a review on this roadshow next week. But if you have an open mind and you don't mind a little bit of an adjustment with respect to worship and faith and practice, I recommend this very funny piece. There's some wonderful songs, and the songs and plot contain a lot of graphic and sometimes disturbing language. So it is forewarned, not for the kids. It is a very adult satire,
yes.
But it does take place in Uganda in the hopes of 2 bumbling LDS missionaries who go there, and you'll enjoy it. If you take a little bit of that ride, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it as they hope to convert the village to the LDS faith. Again, that's the Book of Mormon, starting up the 8th and then finishing up on the 13th. Now, for those of you who are very concerned about the high ticket prices, the Book of Mormon is offering a little bit of a respite there, if you will, a little opportunity for you. They're going to have their lottery that's going to be offered as a daily lottery that's going to start up about 3 hours before showtime, up to about 2 hours. That's when they're going to actually have the drawing. This will allow you to get up to 2 tickets at only $25 a piece. That's a deal, because believe me, some of the prices for Book of Mormon are going into the hundreds. So again, that's 2 hours before curtain time for the drawing, before showtime. And again, the different showtimes are sometimes at 7:30, sometimes at 8, so check your listings to find out all about that. Now, next week, the Jefferson Performing Arts Society will take the wraps off their latest production, which is going to be the wonderful Child Pleaser, of course. If those of you remember The Sound of Music and My Fair Lady, well, Micah Richard de Saulnier will be performing as Mary Poppins. And of course, this will be a wonderful show for those of you who want to go see the British nanny, who is practically perfect in every way. Many of the original Sherman Brothers movies from the film that starred, of course, Julie Andrews, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Let's Go Fly a Kite, A Spoonful of Sugar, and Chim Chim Cheree will all be featured, along with several other songs that were written specifically for the musical that was on Broadway until just a few years ago. It runs just 2 weekends, and I have it on good authority that Mary Poppins will be flying on stage, and I want to encourage everybody to get there. Great for the kids, and a jolly holiday with Miss Mary. So, what might have been probably the most important play for Tennessee Williams, it's the one that really established him, is going to be returning to the New Orleans stage coming up at Le Petit Theater, and that, of course, is the wonderful The Glass Menagerie. This is a production that's going to be starring Lucy Faust as Laura Wingfield and 3 other cast members. Of course, it's a 4-member cast. Curtis Billings as Tom Wingfield, Annalyn Jeffries as Amanda Wingfield, and Kevin Roethlisberger as Jim O'Connor, excuse me. Again, this is going to be running for several weeks and in conjunction with the Tennessee Williams New Orleans Literary Festival. one of my favorite particular pieces, and the one that really introduced me not only to Tennessee Williams, but to a love of theater, because it was the first time I ever got to read a part. I played the role of Tom. Okay, so there you have it. And we have more of Tennessee Williams coming up that we'll talk about in coming weeks. Also, for those of you who really love Old Blue Eyes, his songs will be coming alive on the stage at BB Stage Door Canteen starting next Friday night. That'll be the return of My Way with the likes of Courtney Bowe and Clint Johnson. It's a jukebox musical with all of the crooner's great songs through the years, and again, many of his songs went to the top of the charts, of course. Again, it's produced by Victoria Reed, the entertainment director there. I saw it the last time it was here. Fabulous cast. It's a wonderful jukebox show. Highlighting Old Blue Eyes, the chairman of the board, and I think you'll enjoy that too.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Alan. And before we go, I just wanted to remind you all about the WYES Downton Abbey grand finale screening this Sunday at the Orpheum Theater with live music by the Clarinet Choir of the New Orleans Concert Band. And there's VIP orchestra seating with refreshments, and that's just $45, but general admission is free. Another such a deal, right? Please visit WYES.org for more information on that. And thank you all so much. It's great to have you here. Really appreciate it. Love the music. And thank you for watching. Thank you. Good night.